Assalamu alaikum. So if you're a Muslim that's been considering making Hijrah to Indonesia, but you're probably not the type of person that is ready to just literally pack their bags, maybe pack all their family, etc., and just fly over without testing it first, this video, inshallah, I'm going to tell you how can you test Indonesia for Hijrah. So yeah, alhamdulillah, I myself made Hijrah to Indonesia and got married here, but I didn't just pack my bags and fly here permanently. So this video, I'm going to share how you can test Indonesia for Hijrah. So I'm going to be talking about visas, where to stay, what is the budget, and what to do. So inshallah, it can be beneficial if you're one of those people. So firstly, what do I mean by testing Hijrah? So a temporary stay, testing out day-to-day life here, so you can see whether it's right for you and your family. So no commitment. You're not saying, okay, right, I'm packing everything, I'm leaving everything, I'm going to Indonesia. Not like this. You're just coming over to test it. So minimum 1 month. So definitely not just flying over for a week, staying in a hotel. Very different. Staying for a month in a place that you would actually live. Like, would you live in a hotel with bed and breakfast? No, you would be living in a home. So renting a home absolutely is necessary for this, for it to be beneficial from what I've seen. So yeah, not staying touristy or anything. Must live as though you're genuinely going to be like, pretend you're there full time, fly over for a month, you're staying in a home, in a residential home that you've rented, and then act like you're staying there full time, because then you're going to get the gist of how it is for Hijrah. Because some people, maybe they go and fly over to a place, they go, they do all the touristy things, they're having loads of fun, whatever, they're going on the jet skis, blah blah blah. But then they come over, maybe like that's their test, they think. But then they go back and then they come over thinking they're making Hijrah. And now life's so completely different. And then they're like, perhaps they regret it, perhaps they go back. But if you're actually testing it like this, it's a great way, inshallah. So firstly, visas. It's very simple, alhamdulillah. You've got the e-visa on arrival or just the normal visa on arrival. So you can either literally just show up to the airports and then you'll just go in a queue and you'll pay and then you'll get it, or you can apply for it online before coming. Then you just skip the queue and it's a bit more easy when you land. But either way, it's very, very simple. This is unless you're coming from like one of the countries where it's notoriously difficult to travel. But anyone coming from the West or anything like that, it's going to work like this. You're coming from the US, Canada, Australia, anywhere in Europe, pretty much, it's going to be like this. Most places is like this. But if you're coming from a different place, you're probably already aware that travel is going to be slightly different for your situation. So yeah, it costs $35. It gives you 30 days, and then you can extend it for an extra 30 days for another $35. And yeah, most likely this is enough because you've got 2 months here. And yeah, it's very, very simple. You literally just show up. Anyone can do that. Or you've got the C1 visa, which costs $55 and gives you 60 days. And you can then extend it 2 more times to give you a total of 180 days. So this is suitable if you're going to stay for longer. You must apply for it online before coming, so you're at home, whatever, and ideally more than 14 days before flying over, just because it can take like up to 14 days to process, and you've got 90 days whereby it can then activate. So just do it early, do it before coming, don't leave it to the last minute. And then this is an option if you want to stay longer. Both of them is valid options. You'll probably know already for your situation what's making more sense. Like if you're someone, yeah, I can easily come and stay for 6 months, then that's more suitable. But if you know you can only stay for like 30 days, 60 days, then e-visa on arrival is probably going to be best. Where do you stay? What city? What place do you live? So think about your day-to-day life. Don't think like a tourist. Don't think like you're coming on holiday. Think, okay, I'm going to be living long term. Indonesia, firstly, is huge. I didn't know this personally before. I did not know how big Indonesia was, but it's got over 17,500 islands. It's actually wider than the US. It has like a population of about 280 million people. It's absolutely massive. Yeah, every type of living exists here is the point with that. It's like you've got the city life, you've got the nature life, you've got the beach life, you've got even cold places and stuff. You've got everything. Volcanoes, literally everything, alhamdulillah. So you've got the big city, the capital city, Jakarta. I wouldn't really recommend it, to be honest, for living, just because it's not great Islamically. It's a lot more liberal and a lot more, it's not ideal. There's definitely pockets of Jakarta, which is fantastic. There's pockets of like literally Salafi communities, and a lot of the big sort of ustads here, they are based in Jakarta or around it. So you can definitely get good knowledge here, and there'll be more English classes, etc. in Jakarta, certainly. And you can find good townhouses in Jakarta, but just overall as a city, it's not the greatest. If you want the beach slash the calmer life, Lombok is a great option. Many people know of the brother Abdullah on Instagram, who is absolutely killing it with the content about Lombok. So if you want to go to Lombok because you're looking for more the beach, the calmer life, then Lombok's going to be a great option. Mountains and greenery. So yeah, you've got big mountains and a lot of greenery, really aesthetic cities, Bogor and Bandung, and they're not far from Jakarta. Bogor is like an hour from Jakarta. Bandung is a bit further, maybe like 3 hours. You can just take the train. And yeah, both of those is very nice nature. And some more practicing cities, which was what was most important to me, is Depok, which Depok is literally connected to Jakarta. So it's very close to the main airports. It's very developed city. Things are highly convenient. And yeah, that's what I chose. Alhamdulillah, it's got loads of good sort of upon the Quran and the Sunnah masjids and townhouses, etc. It's definitely good. It's not perfect at all. Definitely not perfect, but it is much better than Jakarta and much better than many places. Alhamdulillah. And you've got a lot, same as Jakarta, you've got a lot of the ustads. Like I mentioned, that many of the good ustads that have studied in Saudi, for example, they live actually in Depok, a lot of them. So you're going to have more good knowledge, which is nice. Most of it is in Indonesian, though, to be honest, most of the classes and stuff. But it is a good place. You're going to meet a lot more brothers upon the Quran and the Sunnah in Depok, probably more than most places, which is nice. Pekanbaru, now I've not been personally. I know my Indonesian language teacher is from Pekanbaru, and many people have mentioned that it's a much more practicing city compared to many. So that's an option. It's on a completely different island to Jakarta, and yeah, you can research about that. But supposedly I've heard very good things about it. Banda Aceh as well. So it's actually the province is the only place in Indonesia that is allowed to impose Sharia law, which is a good thing, of course. That's how everywhere should be as a Muslim country. We should never be choosing human laws over Islamic law. Aceh, of course, they're not actually upholding it fully, just because of all the corruption in the modern world where they wouldn't be able to do that. But they are literally allowed to do that. So there'll be like caning for different immoralities, and there's actually enforcement there of no free mixing, no like showing the aura, etc. Now, of course, it's not going to be perfect, but it's significantly better. Like the history of Aceh, if you research into the history of Aceh, it's very admirable. Like they literally fought wars for ages against Indonesia, actually, to keep it. Like they were fighting for an Islamic state, to be an Islamic state, which I think is a very admirable thing. And yeah, may Allah preserve them. May Allah make it all of Indonesia an Islamic state. So yeah, you've got more practicing cities. These are 3 examples. Depok's very convenient. It's very close to the airport. And yeah, it's highly convenient, and it is a lot more practicing compared to other places, alhamdulillah. Focus more, so that's the city side of it. Now focus more on the actual where you're specifically going to live, because I think this is huge. Because if you live in a good city but in a bad neighborhood, it's going to be bad. And if you live in a worse city but in a good neighborhood, it's going to be fantastic. So focusing more on the townhouse that you live in is more important than choosing the city, from what I've seen. So yeah, there is Sharia townhouses, which is good. There's actually many of these, particularly in like Depok, Bekasi, surrounding cities of Jakarta. There's actually many of these being pushed now, which is really good, and it's increasing as well. So Indonesia, it seems as though it's like really on the up, like it's increasing in how much it's practicing, which is a nice thing. Yeah, townhouses with a masjid upon the Sunnah inside, which is best, of course. So trying to find a townhouse which is like this. You want to ideally have a masjid within your townhouse which is upon the Quran and the Sunnah. That's the ideal scenario, or at least you're living very close to it, which is a good thing. And you can find these even on short-term rentals. If you want help with that, you can go to the link in the description, and inshallah I can help you. Next, budget. So yeah, it depends on many variables. Of course, I can't just say, right, it's going to be $1,000. I can't do that, because it really depends how long you're going to stay, how many people, how are you actually going to live. So short-term rentals in a nice townhouse, they can range between $400 to $1,000 per month. Generally, that's going to be 2 to 4 bedrooms, gated community with a nice design, nice modern home. And yeah, there's also many options. If you want to spend higher, you can also get like more luxury places. I actually did make quite a few videos about properties, so you can just look at them on the channel for all the different types of properties. So yeah, you've got those. Another point with that is that you're going to find more short-term rental options in a place like Depok because it's close to Jakarta compared to certain like Pekanbaru and stuff. It's going to have significantly less short-term rentals. But yeah, that's just a point there. Flights, they depend on where you're coming from, of course. There's no set answer for that. Food's so cheap, alhamdulillah. You probably already know that. Everyone seemingly knows that Indonesia is a very cheap place, alhamdulillah. And it's also high quality as well. It's not like it's cheap and low quality. It's cheap and way more natural, way more fresh, which is really good. So yeah, I eat a bunch of meat and I eat loads of food actually. And yeah, two people, this is spending for two people. I spend about $50 per week. So you can 100% do way less. Like most Indonesians probably spend more like $10 per week. But yeah, you can do significantly less. And you can also eat out for really cheap. Like generally it's going to be cheaper to eat out than it is to actually eat in, which is an interesting thing. SIM card and taxis, like alhamdulillah, taxis are extremely cheap. And you can also rent a motorbike if you wanted that as well, or a car. But yeah, it depends. Traffic's not the greatest here. Yeah, what to do, like what are you actually going to do whilst you're here? So rather than going to the tourist sites and things like this, which sure you can go to a couple, but I think it's not the most ideal thing to do because generally the tourist places, from what I've seen, they're not really great Islamically, but also like that's not what you're really going to be doing day to day when you live here. So try and really get the gist of how it is day to day. So I'd recommend, like, of course, you're going to ideally be in a townhouse yourself, but also go and visit like a bunch of townhouses. Just walk around them, walk around the different villages around it and stuff. Go visit different masjids, and then you're going to get a better gist because if you're like anything like me and most people that come and make Hijrah, you're probably going to be spending most of your time in your townhouse, in the masjid, places like this. You're probably not going to be in like the tourist places all the time. So it's a good thing to do. And just reflect on how do you feel day to day? Like how does day-to-day life feel in comparison to back home? Maybe it's worse. But for most people, it's going to feel a lot better. It's going to feel more calm. You're just going to feel a lot more calm being in a Muslim majority country. Being in Indonesia is, alhamdulillah, it feels very, very safe compared to most places. I've been to like 28 countries and this is the safest I've ever felt. And yeah, you're probably going to see that you find it a lot easier to practice your deen. Like it's a nice feeling that there's a masjid literally everywhere. Yeah, and see how it would be for you working online, because if you're going to come over here, you're going to be realistically working online. Like it's not really a feasible option, maybe for some very specific situations, but it's not really a good option to come over and get a job. That's just, people don't really come to Indonesia for that. Like Indonesia's got 280 million people. They don't really need people coming in, the company having to pay for your visa, etc. Like it's just not really the best place for it because salaries are extremely, extremely low. Like the average Indonesian salary is $170 per month. $170 per month. So it's not the best place to come and work for a job. But see how it would be for you working online. Alhamdulillah, your cost of living can drop significantly. So if you're setting up a business, you're going to have more runway. And if you already have a business, you're going to be able to reinvest significantly more, which is good. And yeah, ideally, you can have a home office, like just a desk in your home or build a home office eventually. Or just you can work in cafes, co-working space if you prefer that. So yeah, try and live like how you would day to day. Yeah, some action steps, like how do you actually make this real? See when you're next available to fly over for at least a month. Decide which city you would like to pick. Look on Skyscanner for flights to Jakarta. Most likely you're going to fly to Jakarta, but it might differ. So it depends. If you've chosen a city like Lombok, probably you'll fly to Bali and then to Lombok, but it really depends on your situation. So just look on Skyscanner for wherever you're looking to go to. Skyscanner, because it compares every single airline, so it's way better. Find a suitable townhouse for a short-term rental. Yep, search for a suitable townhouse, and then Airbnb is pretty good for finding those. Make a plan for when you get here. So yeah, try and think of a plan of like what to do. Get a Google Maps thing of which masjids you want to go to and where you want to go and visit, etc. Fly over and test it out. If you like it, then plan to make Hijrah here. If you don't, you can test another city in Indonesia. Or if for some reason you despise Indonesia, hate Indonesia, then you can just repeat the same things but in a different country. So inshallah, that has been helpful, and you can now plan your trip to test Indonesia. So if you'd actually like me to help you plan all of this, you can go to the link in the description, tell me about your situation, what you're wanting, and inshallah I can help you do that. So click on just relocating. There'll be 4 options. Just click just relocating and then you'll be taken to a call. Inshallah, I can then help you plan this process. So yeah, assalamu alaikum.